Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another, I think, very important Inspired live stream. It's wonderful to see you all already in the live chat talking. I want to encourage you right away from the get-go. Please share this. This is important, and what we're going to cover is important. It's a whole story, and we've been talking about this, and we will talk about this because it is that important. I see many beautiful people in the house from all over the place, from Norway. That's wonderful. Spend a few days in Kristiansund years and years ago was absolutely beautiful. Hey, Colorado, good to see you. Netherlands in the house, England in the house, Arizona in the house, Hrvatska, kako si? Hrvatska in the house, beautiful. South Africa, wonderful. Philadelphia, Germany. It's great to see you all. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. That's the mantra of the Inspired live stream. I want to jump right into it because I think it's highly important. Over the last few days, I've been observing and watching the media. And I was just wondering, how they're going to report on this upcoming movie, Sound of Freedom, where Jim Caviezel plays a man named Tim Ballard. And, I've been going through the news websites and the various outlets that are covering movies often. So this is Good Morning America, right? This is a mainstream media outlet. And they're, of course, reporting, for example, they're reporting on the Indiana Jones. They're saying 2023 summer movie preview, all the biggest films to have on your radar. So you see here Indiana Jones. You see a whole list of movies that's coming up. And if you scroll down to July, where we're going to be, you're going to see something amazing. You see here, June 30, Indiana Jones, July 12th. So they skipped right over Sound of Freedom, which is going to be released in July 4th, not July 3rd, July 4th, okay? Why is this important? Well, let me tell you this. The Sound of Freedom, the movie that is covering the horrific child trafficking crimes and a real-life story around it, has outperformed Indiana Jones in pre-sales 3-1, maybe even 4-1. So for every Indiana Jones ticket that was sold ahead of time, 3 to 4 Sound of Freedom tickets were sold. Actually, as of yesterday, the Sound of Freedom has already sold $7+ million worth of tickets. So you're seeing that this is resonating with a lot of people, but it's not because mainstream media is talking about it. The only mainstream media outlet that has national or sometimes even international viewership was Fox, that had an article, and maybe they had something. I'm not watching Fox, not watching really any news outlet, but maybe they had something on their shows. But they had in print, they had one article a few days ago. Other than that, the media is utterly silent on this movie, even though it's already a huge success story just from a purely financial standpoint, right? It's an indie movie, but of course it has controversial actors in it. It has a controversial story, and it is covering a subject that apparently the Mockingbird media hates to talk about in a meaningful way. Every now and then they'll cover something that is, some small ring somewhere or some group or some gang, something like that. And they make it appear like these are isolated things that are happening in some pockets of the country or some pockets of the world and somewhere out there, when really this problem, as we have highlighted and we talked about, is everywhere. And of course, trafficking as a subject could be covered by the Mockingbird media every day and they wouldn't run out of material. The beautiful thing about the Sound of Freedom movie, even before it is released on July 4th officially, is that we have already together, you and us and all the other, truth and freedom loving people in this nation and abroad, have already created a cultural momentum around this movie. That's why tickets are selling. That's why people are going and planning to go with their family and friends. That's what we did. We purchased tickets way ahead of time for the whole family and said, we basically said, we're going to go. We didn't even really ask. We said, we're going to go. I want everyone to see this movie. Of course, our family has a certain awareness around the subject just because we talk about it naturally. But for a lot of families, this might be new. And I would encourage, this might not be a movie for your child, but for your, teenage children or late teens, I'm pretty sure it's suitable. And of course, adult children or family members. I would suggest that you really view this as a cultural and an educational moment where you can take family members, you can then share a meal together, you can talk about it, you can begin maybe a meaningful discussion around the subject and bring awareness to it. Because like Mel Gibson said here, and I want to play this clip for you, because let me just find the right, actually, let me just find the right screen here. That wasn't the right one. I want to play this clip for you. Mel Gibson, we shared this yesterday on our channel, and if I'm not mistaken, and if I can find it here, it reached 50,000 people already or something like that. There he is. There's Mel Gibson. Let me share this with you because I think this is a meaningful message, and blow this up for you all. Here you go. Very short, but meaningful.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness. Go see Sound of Freedom. Most disturbing problems in our world today.
Let me close that. So I think this is actually a really, really good way to do it. It's actually a way. Think about it. It's a way that everyone, with today, all you need is a phone and an app, which most people have that are watching this. You can actually do this. Either before you go watch a movie or after you go watch a movie, you could pretty much take the script, same words as Mel did, and make a quick video and say the exact same words as Mel did and point to the movie Sound of Freedom. Maybe you don't even edit that clip in that he has because you don't know how to edit, and that's totally fine. I think if you mention the movie, maybe you put a link in the description to the movie, Sound of Freedom movie. And people have asked me, why are you pushing this? Why are you pushing this? And Christine and I have talked about this a lot. Is it about the movie? No, it's not about the movie. Is it about helping sales? No, it's not about helping sales. We have no horse in that race because we don't get an affiliate commission or something like that. We don't even know personally the people that created the movie. This is about awareness, and we've talked about this. And in our culture today, you write a book, you might get a chance of reaching a lot of people. Bobby Kennedy kind of did this with the real Anthony Fauci, where people didn't know this because the New York bestseller list didn't cover it, but his book sold millions of copies. But it didn't create the cultural moment that a movie can. We are in these times where people need to see something, and movies create these moments, and they can create these moments, and that's what we need. For us, it's really about creating awareness around this subject because it's been a fringe subject for so long. That's why for the past weeks, I've talked about it so often, because I want to let you know that our text messages, our messages in all our groups that we're in with our fellow truth speakers and journalists and outlets and people that have platforms, that's one of the subjects we're messaging about the most because everybody feels the same way. Let's make sure that this is the most watched movie of 2023 and maybe even the decade. Why not? Why shouldn't it outperform the Avenger movies and the other movies that bring so little value and meaning to the people? And I haven't even watched Sound of Freedom, and I don't have to make this statement. If we can bring awareness to this, to larger groups of people, we have literally started the first step in the process of eradication of trafficking and pedophilia. It will require all of us. It will require really an approach of a critical mass within the population, but that is what is happening. And the media won't be of any help. I can tell you this. I've been scanning the media outlets. They are keeping quiet on this movie. CNN is talking about all the movies, not about this one. MSNBC, you name it, even Newsmax, I haven't seen anything. I might be wrong because I know they've done an interview, but I'm talking in print. I really looked at print because a lot of people go through the news sources in print or digital print, if you will, and I haven't found anything. So they're keeping quiet, and I assume that the search engines aren't really very, helpful in that either. So here's a call to action, the CTA. It is so simple. No money is needed. It is for you. It's a simple share. And I've said this before. Use text. Text is more personal. If you're going to message your friends and family and say, hey, and maybe wait even until you've seen the movie, but go, hey, this is important. This is a subject that we have to protect our children. We have to save our children. We have to really pay attention to this. Here's the movie link. Go watch this movie. Go blow it up as big as we can. And there's another thing that I want to encourage all of you to do, because I know you're spiritual light warriors. It's a whole different thing than people that are mostly a whole different thing than people that are standing in line for any other movie. We need to build a bubble of love and care and protection around the movie theaters and around the actors and around everyone who's involved in that movie, simply because this can, and we hopefully, I mean, we hope it will turn into a disruptive cultural event, right? That's what we're shooting for here. A disruptive cultural event that will create a shift in the mindset. And that's the awareness part. But whenever you do an attempt to do something like that, there are opposing forces. They don't have a problem with sabotaging these moves. So we need to bubble these people up in prayer, in beautiful, safe and loving energy, and make sure that these theaters, make sure that the movie itself and the people that are watching it are protected, right? They need to be protected, because in a disruptive event, it could be something that is aimed at the movie or the theaters, or it could be something that is so big that it will take all the attention off of that movie. And we want to make sure this does not happen, because we need a few weeks, a few months to create a real cultural shift in awareness. We've prepared this over the last years, all of us together, because we frequently talked about it. And now this subject, trafficking, systemic abuse, really, and we've seen this, right, in the organizations, in religious organizations, in all other organizations, it is a reality. And it is one that we should no longer accept. And here's a few weeks ago, I talked about the Serenity Prayer. And the Serenity Prayer is so known to many of you, where basically I'm paraphrasing is, God, grant me the strength to change the things I can change, accept the things I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference between what things you can change and cannot change. And I said I would like to add to this prayer one more line: grant me the courage and the strength to change the things I can no longer accept. To change the things I can no longer accept. And that is a problem in our world, a horrific crime that we should no longer accept. We should not accept that it exists. And when we begin with not accepting that it exists and that it continues to exist, we begin walking down a right path. And our path has to be that we truly put our energy and our love into the protection of our children and making sure that this kind of evil is eradicated from earth. And so this is what I would add to the Serenity Prayer. Grant me the courage and the strength to change the things I can no longer accept. I don't know about you, but I can no longer accept this. I can no longer accept thinking about that my grandchildren one day will live in a world where this would be dangerous to them and their children, where this is a thought that parents have to protect their children in the most sacred and safe spaces because they could become a victim. I know this is a huge and very, very big subject in many ways, and it covers, there's so much to cover on this. And there's only so much that we can talk about on this platform. I'm talking about YouTube, you know this. But you don't see what's happening behind the scenes and the warnings that we're getting and all of that. But that's not going to stop us. That's why I would encourage you. We talk much more openly and in detail on in the Inspired community on Locals, which you can find a link in the description. We have supporter-only shows, which are paid supporter shows, $5 a month or $50 a year, and we have free shows. So just become a member and check it out, if you will. But it also helps, support our work. But Locals is uncensored, and it's important sometimes that we really can say things completely without thinking about using buzzwords or whatnot. But right now, call to action before I log off here. If you haven't yet, and if you can, please purchase tickets for this movie, right? The more pre-sale, the better, the more hype. You know how that works. But then please talk about it. Share it. Come back maybe to this live stream. Put a comment underneath it. Let's make sure that this movie is not blacklisted by the Mockingbird media. Let's make sure that they can't get around it because it sells hundreds of millions worth of tickets. And again, it is not about making the movie producers rich. It's about creating this cultural moment of awareness. That's what we care about. So this is where we stand. Please do your part. And then if you feel like it, just create a quick selfie video and say what Mel Gibson has said. You know, you can find that short on our channel here in the Inspire channel. It's up there. And you just say that into the camera and send it out to your social media channels. What could be a more worthy cause of using your clout that you have with your friends on social media than doing this? All right. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us. This is highly important. We'll keep you updated. We'll talk more about it. The Sound of Freedom is out on July 4th. Get your tickets now at the soundoffreedommovie.com. Links in the description. Thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll be back with you again very, very soon.